Hi, everybody, from Giuseppe, former co-founder and running in IBM as support architect. So I will go directly to show you what ReaQta is. So starting from the very beginning, what ReaQta is. So you can have an actual and practical idea of the functionalities, the capabilities, and how the data and information is presented. So first thing first, what is ReaQta Hive? ReaQta Hive is an EDR solution, plus has the capability of protecting. So we can say that it's a combination of EDR capabilities plus EPP capabilities, proactive protection capabilities. What is real important, and this a core differentiator compared to other products, is how the detection is performed. Detection for ReaQta is purely based on the behavior. It means that we are not going to download signatures like a typical antivirus product, which means we are able to run also on air-gapped environments. And indeed, we have a number of customers that are critical infrastructure running on a completely closed environment, and running it by, like, we have a customer that is using it by 1 year without leveraging any form of updates, getting also some interesting result internally on what happens. So the first point to understand is that once the solution, the product is installed, so we have a server and the agents are going to be deployed on every endpoint, and Windows, Linux, Mac OS are the one supported. There is also a mobile module for Android, but it works in visibility mode only, so you will be only able to gather a number of information. So once the agent is deployed, it will be start looking at every operation performed by the various processes, and is doing this through a number of kernel modules plus the NanoS. The NanoS is an additional component, in short, an hypervisor, a custom one, so it's of hybrid type, able to run without the need to reboot the machine, and feeding data used for the visibility of the agent. So when doing a behavioral approach means that we are not looking at the file itself, at the binary, let's say, at rest on the disk. So you can have a malware that is sitting on the desktop folder and not being detected by ReaQta. This is, of course, a little bit an extreme example, because there are additional modules that will be showing you able to do the detection at rest. But the important point is that ReaQta, as an EDR, as a pure EDR, is going to detect the things when they actually run, when they actually do something. This is a core advantage. One of the reasons is the one that I already said, that is the ability to avoid the frequent updates, be depending on an internet connection. On the other side, it offers the possibility to detect threats that are not yet publicly known. And I use always this example. When we were, a lot of years ago, we were developing the anti-malware functionality, we were able to detect the afternoon of the WannaCry outbreak, the ransomware without knowing it, because when you use the behavioral approach, you are observing what happens. You have a number of detection algorithms that helps you identifying the generic behavior, so how an application behaves, regardless if the application, so the attacker, changed the malware, crafted the malware, encrypted it, because you can take the very same binary. It's a typical operation performed by the attackers to take a known malware, encrypt it with a new packer, with a new encryptor, and being able to bypass the antivirus solution. By using the behavioral approach, you basically are not going to care how the malware is written and the internal routines, because we are going to see what it's really doing. So this is important. I tend to spend a lot of time on this concept because it clarifies how and why the detection is done, how it's done for ReaQta. On top of that, of course, there are additional possibilities, like the capability to create a policy, a block list policy, in which you specify a specific cache for a process or a given path, and trigger an alert from when there is a policy violation. Then we have an additional layer of detection that are the DESTRA, which means detection strategy. This is a quite powerful one because you can write your own detection rule based on the specific infrastructure. So if the customer has a specific need, I want to be notified when an administrator connects at 3 a.m. on my domain controller, this can be done with a DESTRA, and other complex behaviors can be modeled through a DESTRA. When, for example, a few years ago, there was the one of the first famous exchange vulnerabilities exploited in the wild. From a behavioral point of view, the process WP.exe, which is the main component of Exchange, spawned an additional process, cmd.exe. We have been able to deliver quickly a detection by leveraging the DESTRA, because we observed the behavior. The behavior is the process of the Exchange server spawning a command line. So this is a behavior to take into account. And in this way, in a short amount of time, all the customers were covered from those threats.